Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I'm doing a first impressions video of Mythlords Classic Monsters. So this is a 1 to 4 player deck building area control game by Frank Zanca. So this game is currently on Kickstarter. I'm going to leave a link to the Kickstarter in the description section of the video. I want to thank Mr. Frank Zanca for sending me this prototype. So in this game, you're going to choose one of the 4 different factions. It's going to be Frankenstein, Dracula, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and Wolfman. There's also a Wizard of Oz expansion included with the Kickstarter that adds the Witch and other Wizard of Oz characters. So, like a classic deck builder, you start with your 10 cards that are for your faction, and you're going to utilize those cards to buy more cards, go to different locations, and attack other players. So let me show you really quick how this game works, and then I'm going to give out my first impressions right after that, and what I think about this game, who is it for, and if I enjoyed it or not. So let's go right into how to play. Okay, so this is how Mythlords is going to be set up. On a 2-player game, 3 locations are going to be placed out. Depending on the player count, more locations would come out at a time. So I'm going to be playing as Unholy Lab. Frankenstein will be my commander. The commander card will always go here, followed by their standee. That is right here. I believe the Kickstarter, with the kid, they will have a minis to follow. The opponent here is going to be Dracula. Now this is the playmat that will also be coming with the Kickstarter, just to give you an idea. So this is going to be the Dracula player. Of course, the commander will be Dracula. Again, we just finished the game over here, so I just want to show you really quick how the game plays. You're going to have all your other standees right here with characters that you're going to get. So we have the mission cards that are right here. I'll go over what those do in a bit. So you're going to have a starting hand. You're going to have your energy cards here. Again, not everything is a starter. This is an example of a soldier, somebody that you can hire and get into your deck. And then you're going to have all these other action cards here. These are all starting cards. So, like a traditional deck builder, you're going to start with 10 cards. Now, if you look on your character deck, on your character card, it's going to show their health, how much strength they have, how much power they generate to the sanctum, and of course any other special abilities that would go with cards or locations. And then of course they have their other abilities, and also the cost it would be to use that ability. Also at the bottom right, you're going to see how much victory points the opponent would get for destroying this monster. Also here is how much the cost of the card is going to be, or if you trash this card, remove it from the game, how much power you're going to give your sanctum. So at the start of your turn, depending on how many people you have in your sanctum, you're going to look at how much power they generate, and you're going to increase the power to your sanctum. So I would start with 2. We're going to draw the 5 cards from our hand. So you have 3, 4, and 5. So we're going to have our starting hand of 5 cards. So how does the game end? Well, you're going to have your victory point tracker here. This is the health tracker for your sanctum. So after somebody gets 20 victory points, that's one way it can end, or more. It's going to also end if one of the opponent's sanctums gets beyond damage. I'll go over that in a bit. Or there's no more location cards left to draw. So we have our 5 cards in hand. So what we can do is, if you look here, that's like I said before, that's how much it costs to play this card. Again, they each do different things. Subtract the price from the cost of a vehicle in the river. Like I said, there's going to be vehicles, weapons, and allies that you can get from this deck. So you're going to be playing cards from your hand. You can play as many as you want. Now, these are energy cards. These would automatically generate another energy for you. And of course, each round, that energy is going to carry over. Another thing you can use energy for is in battle. So when you're initiating a battle, you're going to secretly bid how much of your energy you want to spend to add to the final strength that is at the location. So Now let's just, for example, say I played all my cards. Now, excuse me, right there. Now let's say I generated like 5 energy. I have to use that energy to buy cards from here, or you can buy one of the undeads right here and add them to your deck. I already have one here, and of course I have his standee that is right here. After you purchase, you can deploy up to 2 characters to a location. So you can deploy them here, or you can deploy them to the mission card. So I already have one of my allies there. This is an experiment. I'm just showing you for an example. So missions are just areas that you can place. Again, your minis, and of course the standee goes by your color. So that's how you determine who it belongs to. Of course, the mission cards here have their little flavor text, and of course, how many victory points and what you get at the bottom for getting this mission. So as you can see, these 2 bubbles here, I have to place mine here, and at my next turn, it's going to move over to the next bubble. And then on my 3rd turn, if nobody opposes this location, which a good chance it will happen, he would go off the card, and you would get this card, victory points, and then any effects from the card. So the location cards, so let's just look at one here. Now they each can do different things. Over here shows you how many characters can be on this card, and of course any abilities that can take place on this card. Land and air tells you the type of terrain it is. Now depending on if it was an air terrain, I would need a vehicle that can fly air to get to it. Land, you can always a character could just walk there, but also there are land vehicles that add to your character. I'll go over those in a bit. When you get this card, this is a passive ability that this card would give you. So how do you claim it? So at the beginning of your turn, if you have any characters on this card, you're going to put an influence token. Now other opponents might be here as well, so they will also be playing influence tokens. At the end of your turn, you can initiate a battle if there were other people there. So let's say she was there along with other characters, but you're gonna look at the standee that's here. So this was the brides, and you're gonna compare their strength, and that's their health. And you're going to compare all the strength that's on this card here. So what you can also do is use any special abilities. There's also other cards, action cards that you can play that will disrupt your opponent or affect the battle. Now whoever had, and of course like I said before, we're each going to blind bid how much of our sanctum power we want to add to the battle strength. Now, whoever has the most strength there is going to win. They're going to place another influence token there. And they're also going to distribute how they want to damage their opponent. So if they want to, deal like 3 damage to one character and another 3 to another, any characters that you defeat, you're going to get, like I said before, the victory points at the bottom right added to your total influence. Again, this is your victory points. And those characters are going to go back into the discard pile. Another thing I didn't mention is also on your turn, you can trash this card and remove it from the game to add that much power to your sanctum. Now, another thing that, again, so going back to the locations here, once you have 3 influence on a location, like I said, at the start of every turn, you're adding influence for every... anytime you have a character or characters there, but it's only going to be 1. Anytime you're able to put a 3rd influence, you're going to take that card. So another thing you can do is deploy them to their sanctum, and you can attack the opponent's base. Now, anytime the opponent's sanctum goes below 0, their sanctum is damaged, and you're going to get victory points for damaging that sanctum. It also depends on if you have influence on their sanctum as well. Now, anytime your sanctum is destroyed, you're going to place this marker right here. So that means I can never go over 7 power. And this also leads to another way the game ends. If their sanctum is beyond damage, the game is going to end. So that's another thing that you can do. Let's go over some weapons here. So we have a weapon card that we can add to any of our characters that we have. And then of course, like here, it would add +1 health, +1 strength, and +1 energy. And of course, it gives us also these abilities and the abilities here as well. So that's how weapons work. Again, there's a lot of different cards in here. I wanted to try and find a vehicle card to show you guys. So here we go. Here's a vehicle. So this is a ghost train. So this is a land. Like I said, so this allows you to go to a land location. Again, they would do the same for air and sea. And of course, they add more abilities to the card, and this shows you how many people can be on this card, and of course the abilities that it gives you. But yeah, again, these are action cards. They can be, this is an interrupt card. They can be played during a battle. There are several different types. Like I showed you the soldiers already, and anytime you get the soldiers, you would get their standees over here. I showed you guys the undead, and yeah, that's essentially the game. It's again, this is just a prototype, so anything you see here is subject to change. So now let's go back and let you know what my first impressions of Mythlords Classic Monsters is. Okay, so this game has two of my favorite mechanisms, deck building and area control, and it does it very well. Now, this isn't your typical dudes on a map area control game. Everything's done by the cards, but it still has that tense gameplay. So let's go over the artwork at first. I think the artwork is fantastic. Everyone I played with loved it. It has that classic monster feel to it, and it's done by Mark Spears. Really fantastic job with the art. There was only one mini in there. I know the minis will be with the Kickstarter. Again, the standees will do just as fine. The prototype even had like good car, wasn't like cheap cardboard standee. But yeah, this was still a really nice prototype. But at the same time, it's still a prototype, so anything you saw is not final. But most importantly, how is the gameplay? Well, I enjoyed this game a lot. It really was a big surprise because, again, there's a lot of deck builders out there, but this does it differently with the area control aspect, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. You can play this game in about 45 minutes to an hour if everybody knows what they're doing. The rules aren't that bad. At first they were a little complicated, but you could pick up on it really quick. It's not a complicated game at all. An easy game to pick up and play. Again, I really like the theme a lot. Again, the artwork adds to the theme of this game. It's all, it's got that classic monster feel. But yeah, the tenseness of the gameplay, going after those locations, the mission cards, every round is going to be a fight. I really enjoy attacking the Sanctum, and you got to really think ahead of who do I want to leave behind at your headquarters or your Sanctum to defend, because when you're going to get attacked each round, whether it's at the location, the mission, or somebody's going to attack your Sanctum, and they don't have to be there. Somebody can just play a card to attack it, so you really want to utilize how you're going to utilize those cards to defend while also trying to get those locations. This game is best at 3 and 4. I did feel that at 2 players, the combat was too deterministic. You knew right away who was going to win that spot. You have somebody has more strength here. You can see from their power and their Sanctum how much they're gonna gamble. They're gonna win that round. This is more 3-4 player game, which it should be. Again, 2-player wasn't bad. It was still pretty quick, but I do recommend this at 3 or 4 players, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. It is a very well done deck builder. I enjoyed it a ton. I highly recommend this game. I think if you're a fan of deck builders and somewhat area control, and of course this is not, this is a take that game. There's a lot of ways to screw over your opponents, and it's very in your face, and that's what I look for in games, what I want to spend my money on. And again, the replayability. You have the 4 different factions, and you have the Wizard of Oz expansion in here that adds to the replayability. You want to play as those different factions. There are a ton of different cards, vehicles, weapons that you can utilize. You most likely won't see everything in one game, so it's going to be different every time you play. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be more expansions on the way in the future if this game picks up or is popular. But I think it's a big hit for me. It's going to be one of my top games I'm going to be looking forward to for 2025. So if you are interested in backing this game, I'm going to leave the Kickstarter link in the description. So this is a very good first impression. Highly recommend you check this out. I'm looking forward to seeing the final product. If you have any questions about this game, feel free to leave it in the comment section. You know, I always answer to everybody. Please like and subscribe. Help this little channel grow. And I want to say thanks again to Mr. Frank Zanca for giving me the opportunity to do a coverage of this game. But that's going to do it for today, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Until next time, have a great day.